So, what do we call this?
I was
Swamp
thinking something...
Thing review TBA. Name TBA.
Yeah, Untitled Swamp Thing podcast.
Swamp fan.
Talking Swamp. That was a real just bad name that I've been throwing around for a while.
Ow.
I think, yeah, Untitled Swamp Thing podcaster.
My vote's for Swamp Fan. Like
Swamp fan.
Like Swim Fan.
Swim fan, of course you would. Well, it's just like how you wanted to recast Swim Fan with David Schwimmer, so you could call it Schwim Fan.
Yeah, no. I'm thinking Swamp Thing TV show review name TBA.
Review.
Wrong.
But yeah, we're getting into it. This is Mara.
And I'm Eric.
Yep, and so, yeah, we've been rambling for about 2.5 minutes before we actually get into it, so...
So are you going to edit anything out ever, or are we going to just do this like one run and we're going to hear everything we're saying?
At first it's going to be like that, and then I will learn how to edit.
Alright, well we can get together and do that together, because I got some ideas of how to go about that. Anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is it.
Yeah, this is the inaugural episode. It may never hear the light of day, but who knows? But that's not a positive thing to say right off the bat.
Yeah.
So let's
start keeping the expectations low.
Yeah, let's talk about Swamp Thing, cause I'm a pretty big fan of him. I'd probably say he's my favorite DC superhero.
Okay.
And I know you are one of the few other people that has at least read some of it.
I've read a Swamp Thing. I read the first of the Alan Moore series.
Yeah, that's a pretty good starting point.
Yeah, I do like Swamp Thing as a character, but I definitely don't know a ton about him.
Yeah, I too. I'm not an expert. I am a fan, but I definitely will not say I know everything about Swamp Thing. I probably know more than your average Joe on the street because they don't know who the fuck Swamp Thing is.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know. Swamp Thing's got a little bit. I feel like he's got, some credibility.
There's probably like a peripheral of it, but
I mean, he's not like Rorschach.
I feel like Rorschach's probably more well known than Swamp Thing at this point.
You think so? I guess maybe relevance.
Swamp Thing hasn't been in a movie.
That's what
well,
I mean.
Actually, no. Swamp Thing's been in 2 movies, which is what this show is based off of. It's I feel like that was the show's big draw, is that they got the guy who was in the suit in the movies.
So, did you see the movies?
I watched about halfway through the first movie.
Okay.
And I just severely lost interest. Because the thing with the movies, and it seems like the thing with the show, is it's a little bit more like the older Swamp Things before Alan Moore took over.
Okay.
Just because it's a lot more kind of... it's... The big difference is when Alan Moore took over, it was like... I guess we should probably talk about what Swamp Thing is in case someone's listening to this and they don't know. Which would kind of be insane, but...
Defeating the purpose of...
Yeah, but basically Swamp Thing...
Pick whatever random podcast you feel like listening to.
Yeah, but basically Swamp Thing is... He is Dr. Alec Holland. He was a biological engineer, some kind of biological scientist, worked with plants, He was developing a plant growth formula in the swamps of Louisiana. And with that, there was a lab explosion. Depending on what continuity you're going with, it could either be just a regular lab explosion or it was sabotaged. I think the new continuity is that it was sabotaged. And he gets exploded into the swamp covered in his plant growth formula. And so before Alan Moore took over, it was basically the idea that the plant growth formula turned him into, combined with the muck of the swamp that when he was tossed into the swamp in the explosion, it basically turned him into this plant-based creature. And when Alan Moore took over, it was kind of just completely thrown away that it's like, no, Alec Holland is dead. The swamp basically ate his memories, and it's basically a plant that thinks it's a man.
Okay.
And and this show...
That I remember a bit for that. That was what it was.
Yeah, that was like that when Alan Moore first took over, he was just like, okay, I'm gonna put my fingers, my greasy little wizard fingers all up in this. And he basically was like, yeah, no, that character... Because that was kind of his driving point before he took over, was just like, yeah, I'm looking for a way to become human again. And then Alan Moore took over, and it's just like, nah, man, you were never human to begin with. And it's just kind of this trippy mindfuck stuff that he has to deal with.
Okay.
But this show seems to be more along the lines of that it's like, this is a man who was turned into a plant. And...
yeah, there's definitely a lot more of a human side to it, especially with all of the other beings you see happening in those first 2 episodes we watched.
Yeah. So let's get into the show. The first episode starts off pretty strong with a dwarf
tied upside down in the river.
Yep. Or in the swamp, I guess.
The swamp. The bayou? The bayou? I mean, technically that's the bayou.
Dang old bayou over Louisiana.
So why is he not bayou, man?
Cause...
come on.
Because I think he was created by 2 Jewish guys in New York.
Okay.
They're just like...
that's fair.
Louisiana.
That's fair.
Louisiana.
Yeah, anyway, the intro of this, though, really, to me, felt like an investigative crime series. Like, when you're watching the beginning of, like, CSI or something.
Yeah, like a whodunit. Like, we're gonna figure out how he got put up there and stuff.
Yeah, and then go to opening credits. We had some pretty grim words from Swamp Thing happening. Not really grim, but just in a grim tone.
He's just like, I used to be a human, but now I'm the swamp.
He is the swamp.
He is the swamp.
He is the
whatever
swamp. That's
vague powers that implies. He is the swamp.
But anyway, so we go from the credits to the kid rowing down. The kid Jim. Jim is his name.
Jim, last name unknown.
Yes, last name unknown. Rowing down the river, the bayou, the swamp, I don't know, whatever. And got his VHS camcorder with him, checking out the nature, as most 6-year-olds do.
Yeah, he's
6-ish? 6-ish? 7?
I feel like he's closer to like
9?
Like preteen, like 10, 11.
Okay. I don't know. He looks like Kazoo Kid.
He does look like Kazoo Kid, yeah.
Ugh. I'm saying he's celebrating a 10th birthday in the near future.
I'm thinking we might...
He's perceptive for his age, but I mean, that's like, 4th grade, 3rd grade.
There is that weird...
4th grade?
There's the weird thing where he's like he's wise beyond his years, because like...
well, yeah,
when
mean streets of Philadelphia.
When the dwarf... When he yeah, Philadelphia. But when he cuts down the dwarf from the pole, when he first goes up, the dwarf's just like, oh, friend or foe? And the kid's like, oh, if I was a foe, I'd just leave you tied up here. And it's just like, no kid would say that.
Yeah. So anyway, Jim sails up on. Are we just giving a play-by-play of what happens, or are we reviewing this?
A little bit of a play-by-play of what happens.
Okay, just making sure. Okay.
I doubt most people have seen this.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so-
but
oh,
I mean,
yeah,
then this
so,
is just spoiler ridden.
Yeah, spoilers.
Like,
Spoiler alert.
whoa,
Yeah,
whoa.
Yeah, this whole podcast is spoilers.
We need a comedic sound generator so that we can get some like car screeching on the brakes or
We need like a soundboard.
something. Yeah.
Well, can we load up one of your drum pads and
Nothing fun. It just we can make drum sounds.
You don't have any like third-party software that adds
I can play us some
like
crazy 5/8s, but no boom 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 boom. Anyway, so we're going. Kid cuts down the midget.
Well, no,
drops the camera into the bayou.
Yeah, he drops the camera into the bayou. And then we see... I'm
just assuming that's bayou. I don't know. We might be wrong. That might just be like a swamp or a river.
In most canon, he is in Louisiana.
Right, but it's not like all water is the bayou and
I guess I just assumed that bayou is Louisiana. It's just, was it like Creole for swamp?
Yeah, I suppose.
But yeah, he drops the camera in the water and we see... what is obviously a shot in like a fish tank.
Yeah. And Swampy's Swampy. I think I'm gonna call him Swampy. Yeah. Swampy's swamp-esque hand catching Jim's camera that he carelessly plunked into the water.
Yeah, he's really careless around water because we see in episode 2 he apparently can't swim.
Not yet. And you're saying he's double digits age.
Yeah, no. Well, he's from Philadelphia.
Yeah, and they're in Louisiana now.
Yeah, but I'm saying he's from the streets of Philly. He's not gonna be swimming that much.
I suppose.
In the old concrete jungle of Philadelphia.
There's the river. Was it like the Potomac?
I feel like that. Didn't that river catch on fire? I might be thinking of another.
Come on. It's 1980 whatever.
Yeah, that is something I should have looked up as when this show takes place.
I'm calling it 1980.
No, I'm late 80s. Late 80s, maybe early 90s. I also should have looked at what network this show was on. I want to say CBS, but that's just a random guess.
Here comes a can pop, everybody.
Uh-oh. We're going to have to cut that out.
But networks where no.
Okay, but he cuts the kid down.
Sorry.
But it's a super weird thing where he demands the kid gives him the knife so that so he can cut.
Oh yeah.
And then he's just waving the knife around.
Yeah.
And
looking menacing.
Super menacing. And he's just like, "Oh, get me food, give me fuel, give me fire, give me that what's that." But no, he's like, give me food, give me water, give me away from the monster.
Basically, shaking this kid down, though.
We never learned who tied him up there. He's just hollering about some monster left him there, but it's like we never learned what monster.
Was it Toad Boy? I mean,
Toad Boy. It might have been Toad Boy.
To be
spoiler alert.
To be Toad mentioned Boy. In the very near future. So yeah, anyway, they get back to land. And the kid goes. Kid pretty much unfazed, by the way, by this dwarf.
Completely.
Mean street. That's the mean streets of Philly really showing it.
Yeah, he's probably cut down several dwarves off of like basketball hoops and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good on him for. Is dwarf the correct term at that point? Because that's just what they've been calling him throughout the whole episode so many times.
Yeah, no, that's the way we're going. There is that difference. I think a dwarf is just a short person. A midget is the one that's disproportionate.
Yeah.
So I think he might technically be a midget.
I don't know. I think midget's not even the
that's
correct
not.
term
I was
anymore.
gonna say is that a derogatory term?
I think it's little person, but
red flag.
I don't know. I'm sitting here in my high throne, not having to worry about stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I speak before I think sometimes. Yeah. Anyway, the dwarf. Yeah, no, he's like shaking the kid down, trying to get food from him. Take me back to land, yada yada yada. Kid's totally just like, yeah, no, that's cool, dude. Whatever.
This ain't my first rodeo.
I'm not scared. Then they go back to land. Kid ransacks the fridge, gets like an entire
his mom's just like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, the dwarf, I found him in the swamp. And she does not believe him. Nope. Because apparently Lil Jim is a fucking liar,
just like his dad, apparently.
So I think we jumped around. I think
we did.
I think before he ransacks the fridge, we are introduced to our villain.
Oh yes,
Anton Arcane, the only character I actually remember the full name of.
Dun 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 dun.
And he is British. He drives a Porsche.
He apparently attended Sean Penn University.
He has
Sean Penn State,
very large feathered back hair.
Yeah.
It's just like whoosh, push back. And he drives a Porsche, and he
slick
really
white convertible.
For whatever reason, he really, really, really wants to fuck Jim's mom. Like, although at this point they haven't even been in a scene together. He's talking
but they definitely know of each other already.
Yeah, he's talking to the grandmother at this point.
Which makes us feel like we've just been kind of plunked down into this thing that's already been happening.
Yeah, it very much feels like...
It feels like we should have watched the movies.
It feels like...
The show assumes we've seen the movies at least and have a little bit of background knowledge as to what's going on.
But I have a feeling like some of these characters weren't in the movies. I have a feeling like Anton Arcane might not have been in the movie.
Okay.
Because they did later on he does do a big like exposition dump of like who he is and his whole character.
So he introduces himself in public as Anton Arcane, right?
Yeah, Dr. Anton Arcane.
And nobody's like, dude, that's kind of a sketchy name.
I feel like it's just a town name, like a family name in town.
God, that is crypt. I don't know. Arcane, that's just...
It's an old comic book thing.
Yeah. That's just, I don't know.
He's also just
he's a very established member of the community. Everyone seems to know him and just trust him wherever. He hangs around with people and stuff. Like I'm getting into it too closely now with the next one, but he's like hanging over at people's house. Like,
yeah,
what's going on?
But yeah,
why is there this trust with Anton Arcane?
Because
I mean, he's a doctor, yes, but it's not like I have any like random doctors hanging out. You know what I mean?
It's kind of like every because it's kind of like every scene we see with him. They were in the
neighborhood strolling through.
It's kind of like every scene we see with him. He's that's the only time he's acting super weird and evil. Like any other time off camera, he's just a completely normal guy. But, like, anytime we're actually seeing him on camera, he's just being, like, a total weird, just like,
we're seeing
rubbing
his
hands in the corner.
We're seeing those moments because they are particularly devious moments of his.
Yeah. And just, like, regularly throughout the day, he's just like, oh, how are you? So
yeah.
I'll take,
Well, let's get some more of that instead of fucking 30-second shots of kids strolling down a river and stuff.
No, you need that to set up...
With all that filler footage, you could have added,
What do you mean?
A minute and a half of scenes.
You don't like long, unending shots of the swamp with like literally no characters in it. It's just like it's like you're saying, like a 30-second establishing shot of just a kind of a slow pan through the swamp.
A bird flies by, does something bird-esque.
And then it just cuts to the grandma's house.
12 seconds after that, like, you know, usually, like, the climax happened, bird did its thing, and you drift away a little bit, and as you're just nodding out, grandma's house pops up.
Yeah. It's not even like they're panning over to grandma's house. It's just like, here's some establishing shots.
Like, they're daring you to keep paying attention.
Yes. Yes, the show is boring. in an interesting way, though.
It's boring, but its lack of quality is entertaining in its own ways. It's a thing. It's watching a crappy B movie or series in this case, but it's the idea of that watching something crappy because it's gonna be really bad and funny, and you can laugh at it because they're serious, but it's coming off as a joke.
I wouldn't mind, like, seeing a script for some of this. Like, seeing just, like, the asides and stuff that someone writes about it, where it's just, like... but it's just so you see the character motivation to it, and maybe just being like, what were you trying to do with this before whatever happened to it happened? Have we even been introduced to Swamp Thing yet? Have we seen more than just
I was just about to say, we're like the first fifth of the way through what I've got jotted down here for what happened in the episode. So yeah, let's move on.
Okay.
So Jim's bringing the food back for inmate. I'm going to call him inmate now because that's safe and has nothing to do with his height.
You're not going to call him the little feller?
No, he's inmate now. Inmate 1. Inmate A. So anyway, he's bringing food back, running through the forest, sees his camcorder that he ditched in the swamp earlier, just hanging out in the forest, and
he picks it up and then
goes to pick it up and gets mugged by
Toad Boy,
who we are later introduced to as Toad Boy.
Toad Boy is great. It is another little person, but in I don't know why they call him Toad Boy, because he seems to have more of like a snake head. Kind of like a scaled face.
He's definitely reptilian. He's definitely just a boy. He was wearing a sweater from what I remember.
So, we were talking about this a little bit while we were watching it.
He's pinkish though. He's more of a pinkish hue.
Do you think that it was the same actor playing Toad Boy that was playing the guy tied up?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Or do you think they got two little person actors?
That's interesting because it seems like in this episode, little inmate guy. Oh man, I went back to the height thing. Now I derailed. Little guy was like the star of the episode. Like the episode was about his struggle. Apparently.
Yeah, he kind of was the main character of the episode.
It was a pilot. It was still a pilot episode. We're establishing the characters at this point, but he was the main focus of attention. If this was like an investigative crime series, he's the one that
he instigated all the plot.
Yeah. He's that guest starring factor though.
So it's
so possible, but I assume Toad Boy is going to show up in the picture again in the future, and
I feel like Toad Boy's dead. I feel like I have a feeling we're not going to see
natural causes.
Monster. We're not the only monster we're going to see reoccurring is Swamp Thing.
He got chewed up by Alligator Man.
Alligator Man. But yeah. So Toad Boy attacks him. And is it while
he knocks the camera out of his hand?
Yeah, and then he's just like
right away.
He pushes the kid up against the tree.
And then actually, incidentally, nothing about the camera again after that point.
Yeah, you
Did
think
they leave it on the forest? Did they leave it in the forest? Did it go back to Grandma's house?
You'd think that it'd be like an instigating thing where it's just like he filmed Swamp Thing or he filmed the Toad Boy or something, but it's just like
there.
You know, and it's like, even at that point, that camera's broken.
It could, I mean, I guess its purpose was maybe to show that the kid is curious because the kid's out in a boat in the beginning filming nature rather than trying to play some basketball or do something else. Like, he's a scientifically minded, curious kid from the get-go, and the camera kind of shows that. But
he's also a fucking liar.
He's
like his mom says, just like his father.
And
his liar father.
Parents just don't understand, I think, is what it really comes down to.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Toad Boy is like in the middle of shaking down kid.
He's like
once again, Jim is unfazed.
Unfazed. Toad Boy comes and is grabbing at his hair, tugging at his hair.
You're walking in the woods, and all of a sudden, a humanoid little reptilian weird ass creature with gummy looking little horns. Things
no, the horn guy's in the next episode.
No, I know, but didn't Toad Boy have a little bit of ridginess?
He may have had some
anyway, not normal human characteristics on this thing's face.
Even if it was a human, weird. Even if it was a human, that'd be completely inappropriate behavior to push him against a tree and just start running his hand through his hair.
Jim's getting shook down, getting his hands popped in his face, and it's just like, oh yeah, whatever, it's not a big deal.
But then
meanwhile, Toad Boy scampers off.
Yeah, he looks up and he's like, whoa, and he doesn't actually go. He's like,
yeah.
And he runs away.
The forest. We get a nice camera turnaround and introduce our real hero.
Well, he wasn't pressed against a tree.
No,
he was pressed against
the warm body of a
human, the warm mossy body of Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
That's Jim is once again completely unfazed. I think Jim may be like a psychopath or something, just from how little emotion.
He's showing early characteristics, but he's still got good in him apparently. So we'll see if anything breaks him throughout the show.
Well, it's the thing of, I feel like he definitely could be a serial killer. It's if we see more stuff of him wetting the bed, or he gets hit in the head more.
If it seems like he's got a fairly supportive upbringing here, there's not a whole lot of factors that could lead to his demise other than him hanging out in the flipping swamp and running into criminals and stuff all the time.
Yeah, and apparently before he came to the swamp, lying all the time. They don't go into it much more than that. Just that he was lying all the time.
Yeah, he's got a real history of doing shit. Which means he must... Does that assume then that he has some connection with this otherworldly stuff that's happening around him already? Because he lied this time and he clearly wasn't actually lying. So it's assumed that he probably wasn't lying all those other times he was lying, and Mom's being... being ignorant.
I feel like this is more of a boy who cried wolf situation, where most of the times if he wasn't lying, he was maybe...
I don't see it. I don't see it from him.
Well, so there's the thing where he keeps saying that his name isn't Jim, but it's no, your name's Jim.
Well, we'll see what happens with that too.
Yeah. But yeah, he's talking to Swamp Thing. Oh shit. Yeah. Okay. So, do you want to talk about it, or do you want me to? The next thing, the quote, the first thing that Swamp Thing says to this boy.
Yeah. No. That's all you.
Okay. So, the boy, he turns around. Jim turns around and he sees Swamp Thing, and he's just like, if I were a dumber kid, I would think I was dreaming right now. And then Swamp Thing is just only dumb people dream. Or only dumb kids dream.
Yeah.
And it's just what the fuck, dude?
What does that...
That is ruthless. Ooh. But yeah, Swamp Thing tells him only dumb people dream.
Yeah, we're a quarter of the... Okay, anyway, yeah, dumb kids dream. That's a surprising and questionable opinion, which... seems to be a little bit of an ongoing theme here as we've watched later into the episode in the next one, but we'll see how Swamp Thing's advice really carries along. I hope it becomes actual advice, because I think it's, at this point, in my opinion, it's like a 50-50 of his advice really having any value, meaning, or having a good intention.
Yeah, no,
like it tries to, but like, it's just cynical.
Don't dream.
Cynical old man. You shitty, cynical old man. Yeah. So yeah, anyway, we go from there to henchman guy.
Yeah, a blonde henchman guy who
new character pops up.
Yeah, he is whacking the little fella in the head.
Yep.
That sounds bad, little fella.
Little feller.
Little feller. But yeah, he's beating him in the head with a blackjack, presumably to death.
Yes.
Because he's just lying there with just his face covered in blood, and then the henchman walks away. Pretty much just as Swamp Thing and the kid come up on the body.
Yeah.
And
well, the shot was done that way. It could have been 10 minutes, but it wasn't long. But yeah, so Swampy and Jim find the midget, and Swamp Thing places his hand over the midget's head. We get a green
just a green kind of
fog.
Yeah, kind of fog effect.
A little bit of a what's the word I'm thinking of? Like a humming sound. Yeah, like a little humming effect happening. Similar to a little, Scotch mist.
Yeah, Scotch mist for you Garth Marenghi fans.
And, midget comes back to life. No wound.
Not super happy about it.
Healing powers of the swamp, apparently.
And then, and he just...
Yeah, and still ungrateful.
He books it off.
Sees Swamp Thing, freaks out.
Well, because...
Obviously, he's
actually acting reasonably. Because if I did just come back from death and there was just this creature made of plant matter, because that's the thing you got to think about. Like in the world, Swamp Thing can't smell good. He's got to smell like musty.
Well, and remember is running from Anton at this point. We don't really know that yet. But he is running. He is technically on the run somehow from Anton and is broken from him, and then maybe has already seen the beginnings of, or at least some part or know of Anton's potential. So he may have recognized Swamp Thing when he saw him and was scared. As
another another frog boy.
Yeah,
or Toad boy.
Toadman.
Young Toadman.
Larry Toadman, 3rd grade. Wears a pink sweater. Salmon or whatever that color that was. Anyway, so he runs off, and Swamp Thing goes in pursuit of the evil henchman.
Yeah. So the little guy runs off, and then he's like, "Oh, Jim, go home. It's just that way." And then he just books it. Doesn't even book it. You can't really run in that suit.
Yeah. Lumbers off into the woods after the henchman finds him in a little bit of a clearing. It wasn't fully wooded over there.
Yeah, he's like chewing on a long piece of grass or something, which was kind of weird. It's like, just have him smoke. That's even more. That's even more threatening to the swamp. But he tries to fight Swamp Thing. But Swamp Thing just catches his hand and crunches it, and then pins him up against a tree. And the guy's just like, "Oh no, you wouldn't kill me! Don't kill me now! Oh!"
And Swamp Thing's like, "I'm not gonna kill you. Just wait."
And then he fucking fuses him with the tree.
Yeah.
And it is some straight up horror movie shit, because it's the tree then.
And the tree has screaming.
2 faces, because it's
he's done this before.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, the tree the tree has another man's face in it that's twisted and screaming. And then it slowly pans up the tree and you see his fucking face.
And his eyes open. He is alive. Yeah. He's alive in the tree.
His eyes are open, his mouth. If he had lungs, he probably would be just shrieking.
So if Swamp Thing is the swamp, then is that man now a part of him? Did Swamp Thing just basically fuse him into his body?
Technically, maybe. Yes, let's just go with yes.
I mean, technically, that's what's happening here.
So yeah,
see, Swamp Thing has the power of being an abominable Clayman.
Yeah,
and pushing things into his Earth body.
He straight up murders a guy,
but he didn't kill him. He was alive in the tree.
What kind of life is that? That is a living hell. He imprisons.
He very crazily imprisons.
Yeah, no, that's bad. That's a bad thing for him to do.
Torture. Doesn't kill, tortures.
Yeah, that's bad.
But yeah, anyway, that's Swamp Thing Vengeance. That's Vengeance on the Bayou, baby.
Mm-hmm. And what happens next?
The dwarf is
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. So Anton
in the city. Oh yeah, we didn't.
Anton is back in the same, like in front of the same story was helping the grandmother
getting out in the car with a different woman.
We completely skipped all of Anton's scenes because he was.
We talked about him hitting on.
No, we talked. We didn't. We didn't talk about like how he drove the grandma home, so he he could hit on the daughter.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And like, so okay. So this scene is after the kid gets all the food for the dwarf, and the mother doesn't believe him. He rushes out, and then she goes out the front door, and Anton's there, literally pulling. I guess we find out that he's pulling a flower out of their garden to give to the mom. In front of the grandma. But this is the grandma's house. And it's just like, what kind of scumbag does that? It's like the grandma doesn't say anything.
It was a comedic moment, but in actuality, usually, you get the flower out right before, but there's still dirt on it or something like that. But she sees him literally rip it out of the pot on the front step.
But it's the thing of, he's doing it in front of the grandmother, whose flower it presumably is, that he's just pulling up.
Was she not up inside already?
No, she was behind him.
Oh.
Yeah.
Even lamer.
Yeah, it's super weird. But yeah, so the Anton Arcane really wants to bone the kid's mom.
Yeah. But in the meantime, he's down with a little side project, it seems, because he's back in front of the same store with a new... curvaceous babe woman.
Is she a prostitute? Sex worker, sorry.
She seems like, if anything, she's like a dancer that he...
So, as this unfolds, I feel like she might be. Because, okay, so...
It's never mentioned, but she's got we later find out that she's got a real... lack of emotion too that kind of makes you wonder if she is. But anyway, let's get there.
Yeah, so Anton spots the dwarf sitting on a stoop,
eating a hot dog,
eating a hot diggity dog, and
dwarf sees Anton scoping him.
Yeah, and so he cartoonishly runs away. He jams the hot dog in his mouth and throws the bun away, and then just like hands over his head, just like cartoon runs away, like
wailing. Wah! Little Wario.
Now, if it was Wario, he'd just fart his way out of it.
That's true. I guess it'd be he was more Luigi-esque. Can we say Luigi?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we can...
The network's not going to bring us down?
No, the network won't shut us down.
Okay, good.
The live stream might get shut down, though. Yes. But yeah, he corners him in an alley.
Fudged.
And, I guess knocks him out, or...
Does something.
Or the scene just kind of
You don't really see it. The camera kind of pans up, and he corners him in that little bottom stairwell. And you assume, at that point, I think he just killed the guy. But...
Yeah, but then
we'll find out.
Then it cuts to Anton and the curvaceous lady... Right? It cuts to them...
No, it cuts to Mom and Grandma talking about, finally now, how Jim's a little liar and like his dad, which we've talked about already. So
I've brought it up a bunch.
Then we actually get to that scene, and then Grandma brings up...
Yeah, the important part of that scene, is the emerald necklace that's shaped like a heart. And it proves that hey, maybe you're being too hard on Jim just because he's lied to psychologists.
And I've had this emerald necklace.
Yeah, you lost an emerald necklace when you were a kid, and you lied and said it was stolen when you just lost it.
Yeah.
You fucking liar.
I kind of get this feeling that Grandma's a little bit lonely. Poor Granny.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Granny really wants Jim to stay there with her. It's like, oh, does he have to go back with you? Yeah, he's flourishing here. And it's like, he is not flourishing here.
No,
this kid is spending all his time alone.
To a swamp. The swamp.
Yeah.
He's hanging out with the swamp.
So yeah, they're talking, and Grandma's talking about how he's a liar.
And then that's when Mom's just like, you know what? I think I'm just gonna clear my head and go take a little walk in the swamp.
Yeah, take a stroll through the swamp.
I'm just gonna go for a walk in the swamp.
Yeah.
You know, just like it's a nice casual place to go for a stroll.
Pop on my waders and go ankle deep in the swamp.
Get your bug spray and a net, probably. Probably need a rope for safety.
Yeah, get something to poke away gators with.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, Mom's taking a stroll through the swamp when she sees an emerald heart necklace with a little shiny light in the middle of it, and it's just like the one Grandma
I think that's supposed to be the sun shining through it. It was just a bad prop, and you could totally tell that there was just a little light inside of it.
Okay. Well, yeah, the heart necklace shows up. Mom decides, I'm not going to take it. I'm just going to leave it here in the woods.
Yeah, she just leaves it there. And this was kind of a cool thing, because it was shown throughout that whole time it was actually Swamp Thing holding it.
Yep, and he's camouflaged.
And it's one of those things where it's just like, yeah, no, I totally didn't notice that until they actually
panned over.
Yeah.
Well, was it just hanging on a tree in the first shot, and then in the second shot, Swamp Thing was holding it?
It might have been that, too.
I mean, that's
they might have tricked us with their Hollywood magic.
Those guys are a step ahead of us every step of the way. So anyway, after that, Mom's pretty much, at least mentally, at the point where she's like, you know what, I think Jim can stay.
I think he should stay.
We're gonna keep him here in the swamp. The swamp's taking care of things.
And then do we cut to Arcane's lab?
Yes.
Okay.
Arcane entering the cave lab behind a rock.
Cave laboratory, something. He's got a lot of freakish people chained to walls.
Yep. And what seemed like it should have been like your classic big glass tubes that you store a human in a science movie, except it just looked like a big hole in the walls.
Yeah, just cave. An indentation in the cave.
But I didn't see any glass or anything.
There wasn't. No.
They were just they're just chilling there. They have no problem just standing there doing nothing. Like
he is being very lax with that.
Yeah. I mean that's a possible recipe for disaster. I don't know. Anyway, so he enters the cave with the lady, the young woman,
the curvy young lady,
and basically demands that she's more scared of her.
Yeah. He's just like, I want you to be more afraid of me, and she's like, I don't think I could be more afraid of you than I already am. But she says it in kind of like a seductive way.
Yeah, she's a little bit scared, but at the same time, she's not shocked. She's not jumping back. She's not shivering. She's not trying to get to the door. And
so she likes it a little bit.
And then Anton proceeds with his little...
I'm going showing you... He goes to show her all his little freaks that he's constructed.
Shows off the humble abode.
And then it's shown that apparently a little bit just off screen was the dwarf. Yeah,
and then in the grand tour, he unveils his current project, which is the midget on... the dwarf, the little guy on the slab.
Yeah, and his whole plan is he's going to turn him normal.
Normal as in normal height.
It's just
assuming
an average
so
sized
in 1980 whatever, it was assumed that if you're a dwarf or short or a midget, you're not normal. I mean, I get that there is technically something a little different.
Average height,
but I feel like you're still. I mean, he's still got full potential everywhere.
Well, that's the whole thing. Yeah, his whole thing is just
vertically challenged.
It's just it's one. I feel like it's just like he's probably fine being himself, but it's two. It's probably also a thing where it's like this can't be. This is probably going to be a painful procedure of whatever he's going to do to him. Because, he has this whole spiel. Anton has this whole spiel about it's just like, oh, I graduated this college when I was 19. Oh, the things I could do if I actually put my mind to good. It's just like, what?
He freaking graduated evil medical school. So he reveals the dwarf. He's going to make him taller. And the dwarf's not having it. So he's like, well, guess what I've got for you, bud. Turns over to the lady and is like, you need to pretty much turn this guy on. And unstraps the dwarf, gets him...
And she's reluctant. She's just like, let's get out of here.
She's weirded out, but still not heading for the door or anything. And then Anton insists that she makes him feel better and snaps his fingers. Some music starts playing.
Well, no. It looks like he's about to pull out a gun.
Oh, okay.
And it's remote control.
Oh, that's what it was?
Yeah, and then some rock and roll music comes on or something.
Some sleazy rock comes on and she starts dancing. She's feeling it.
Yeah.
And that's where this scene took a really
really weird turn, yeah.
And I mean, it was comedic. That was funny. That was one of the,
that
was almost
very humorous.
That was right on the cusp of being as funny as Swamp Thing's quote about
don't dream.
Dreaming kids being dumb.
Yeah.
But so she starts dancing, and it just that became so friggin' awkward, and then we cut away, and there's no luck. No, not yet. Because they're just chilling on a concrete bench or something.
Or it might have been just the gurney that he was strapped to.
But sitting there next to each other, and little guy's watching the show. And
he does not look into it at all.
No,
he's just like, oh fuck.
And Anton looks like he's pretty much given up on it at this point, and produces a gun and kind of from behind little guy's back. Well, he can't see.
What does he say to him? What's the last thing that he says to him? It's really insulting. Your uselessness has come to an end.
Yes.
Yeah. And then, he pulls out a pistol.
Produces a gun from behind the little guy's point, or, view. He can't see any of this going on. Places the gun above his head, and...
from a top... Not from a execution behind the head style.
Down.
It's from the top of his skull. Like he's gonna shoot down through his whole body. You don't hear a bullet shot or anything, but then scene cuts short. Smash cut to lightning for some reason, because it is not raining in the next scene.
Mm-hmm. And then we meet we're back to the house. Back to Grandma's house. Grammy Grams. And Obo's there.
Obo. This is not the character's name. I just don't remember what it is, and it sounds similar to Obo.
And he said, "My name's not Obo" at that point of them meeting. So
the same. Yeah. When the kids meet,
that's when Jim went on about him not being Jim.
Yeah, I'm not Jim, and it's just like, what is this?
He is the swamp too, maybe.
I am the swamp.
Oh, swamp.
I actually drowned, and the midget fucking stabbed me to death when I rescued him, and I actually am dying in the swamp.
It's been a dream the whole time.
This is a Jacob's
all of Swamp Thing is a dream in Jim's mind. He was actually killed in the first scene of the show. Cool.
But
anyway, we meet Obo. They're introduced. Jim and him are introduced, and then Mom announces that Jim's staying. We're staying here for a little bit.
Well, no, the mom's like, I'm going back. I'm going back to work, and you're gonna stay with Grandma. And he's like, yippee! And he fucking just
excitement. Yeah,
he throws his entire suitcase full of his clothes just onto the lawn,
and it opens.
Yeah,
clothes everywhere.
Yeah, like kids do. I feel like he purposefully opened it before he flung it.
He's careless and he's a little scamp, but I don't think he meant it. I don't know. He probably did. But yeah, and then anyway, he runs off into the forest yelling, "Hey everyone, I'm staying!
They let me stay!
Everyone, I'm staying!
They let me stay!"
For like a minute and a half. That went on for a while. And yeah, you see him running down a little path, and then the camera pans over as he runs off screen, and
it's like Swamp Thing.
Swamp Thing's there.
He's smiling
stoically.
I thought he was smiling. I thought it was maybe. Did he give like a little nod that where it's just like
maybe if he did give like a Santa Claus wink, like
I don't know.
I'm here for you.
I don't know if he can.
I think he was. I remember it. He was just stoic, like no emotion whatsoever. You couldn't tell if he was happy about Jim staying or he's like, my god, 3 seasons of this is gonna be a nightmare.
That might be more of the makeup hindering his face from moving.
His nature doesn't seem like he's got a lot of smiles on his face.
Yeah.
Kids who dream are dumb.
And that's
kids who dream are dumb.
Kids who dream are dumb.
You say that? You ever say that with a smile on your face?
Kids who dream are dumb. That is the end of episode 1.
But yeah, that's where it cuts.
That is the beginning of Swamp Thing. And a little teaser for the next episode of Swamp Thing. One of these characters will not be returning.
Dun, dun, dun. So yeah, anyway, my overall opinion, I guess, was kind of what?
It was a lot of just stuff happened, and it didn't seem like there was a lot of justification for why it was happening.
Yeah. I have the feeling of, I'm generally down to keep going with this, though, because I was entertained due to the campiness, and...
Yeah, it seems
overall, they're trying hard to make a serious, sci-fi kind of drama show, but just really not hitting the mark. And the test, and now we're 30 years later, and
some of the creature effects don't look terrible. Like
that's what I mean. For the time, it was probably acceptable. But God, that acting was awful.
Yeah, no, that kid could not act.
And your fish tank scenes in the river and things like that are really noticeable.
So
overall, I give it a 7. I'd give that episode a 7 out of 10. But due mostly to I was just entertained by campiness.
Yeah.
I mean, probably critically speaking, that's 1 or 2 probably, but that's not fair. That's not real nice or fair.
Yeah, we're not watching this critically.
But my personal opinion, I thought that was a 7. I'd watch that again. Screw it.
Yeah, it's definitely better this time around.
There was 5 to 7 unintentionally funny points in that there I laughed out loud.
Definitely Dumb Kid's Dream.
Yeah, Dumb Kid's Dream, and the awkward ass dancing for the dwarf in the cave.
I want to get.
Oh my god! I
want to get a T-shirt with Swamp Thing's picture on it, with just Dumb Kid's Dream. But yeah, if we're
and I'm just gonna go for a walk in the swamp.
I'm going for a walk in the swamp.
Great.
But yeah, I'd probably give this episode a 6 out of 10. It's a pilot episode, so they did have some weird exposition dumps, like where he was like talking about being from Philadelphia,
mm-hmm.
and
yeah, we did get a little bit of backstory.
Him.
Anton is still mysterious.
Yeah, funny thing with that. He's top billed in the show. He's the first name that's like starring, and it's that actor.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
It's weird. That's my thing with this show. Is just going on. It's just like, who is the main character gonna be? I hope it's not.
I'm saying it's a cross between Swamp Thing and Jim.
I have a feeling it's going to lean more towards Anton.
You think so? I think it's going to lean towards Swamp Thing himself being the main focus. Because when we get to the next episode, he takes over kind of because then we get the episodic character where you have character in danger who is the interchangeable character each episode being helped out somehow by Swamp Thing. Or Swamp Thing is at least there to observe it. It might become the real main focus of it as an interchanging character each week. And Swamp Thing and Jim and everyone else kind of plays the support helping them along. I
feel like this show...
Or helping the situation along or whatever it be.
I feel like some of these problems could be solved if it was actually a longer show. Because this is weird because it's a half an hour long kind of drama.
Yeah.
And...
It's a daytime TV drama, I feel like. It's got that. Yeah. It's got the that Walker Texas Ranger feel to it almost.
But even those, I'm pretty sure, were like an hour long. I've never actually watched a ton of Walker.
Okay. But I mean, it's just that destined for like UPN or WGN or whatever it was at the time.
Syndication.
Yeah. WB. I do want to know one thing. I do have a major gripe, and first episode in, I experienced it. The volume on this is awful.
Yes. The volume is off the wall.
I usually comfortably watch TV when I'm watching TV by myself. My volume is at 20. For a lot of the close range dialogue, we had it in the mid 50s just to hear, and then you go into a next scene where they're like on a street and there's cars honking or some people are yelling and just explosion of
audio. Just like even
the
scene where the lady starts dancing, like when they turn on the music. It's like,
that's what it was.
It's so loud compared to all the other
tinning out your speakers loud. Yeah. So either it's good. This is definitely the kind of thing where if you're watching it, you're either gonna have your hand on the volume or you are not making a peep the entire time, and you're 3 feet away from the TV watching it at a little more than normal volume. Because I bet if we had it at 30, 35 on my TV watching this, those explosions and everything happening wouldn't be so bad. They'd still be loud, but they wouldn't be...
They wouldn't be like, am I hurting the speakers loud?
Yeah. Not alarmingly loud at that point. But then, those quiet talking moments, literally, we were in the 40s at one point, and I couldn't hear what the two characters were saying on screen. It was like Grandma and Mom were talking. I think that's when they were in the kitchen.
Yeah, that's... Yeah, the audio is definitely a big issue. Hopefully,
which carries through into the next episode.
Yeah, hopefully that's something they get figured out sooner rather than later.
Yeah. So it's definitely a keep my hand on the remote to, kick up the volume and settle it down as scenes change, because otherwise it's going to be an odd experience trying to hear it. But that's it.
Yeah, we've talked for just about an hour now on this.
That's an intro. That's an intro.
Yeah, no, it's a good amount.
Intro to us and things.
This would normally be the part of a show where we would plug our social media of where you can find the show and the Twitter handle and stuff like that. We don't even have a name yet, really.
Yeah. We're doing it. Swamp Thing review show named TBA.
Walking Swamp.
Talking
Swamp. Talking Thing.
Swamp Fan, like Swim Fan.
Yeah, Swamp Fan. Tune in next time.
Tune in next time.
Bat time. Same bat.
Wow. Yeah.
Podcast.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
All right.
Pizza.